Right now on the season finale of Hoosier News Source, a big company with major job cuts right here in Bloomington.
And we'll show you what a night with IUPD looks like. From Bloomington, Indiana, you're watching Hoosier News Source.
Hello and welcome to the season finale of Hoosier News Source. I'm Carly Flanagan.
And I'm Chloe Ferguson.
A big job provider here in Bloomington announced a major cut this past week. The pharmaceutical company Catalent, which manufactures COVID-19 vaccines, plans on cutting 405 jobs at their Bloomington facility. The company said they will provide assistance to those former employees affected from the cut. The city of Bloomington also said they'll help those who are now looking for new work here in town.
The city of Bloomington has announced a plan to invest $34 million into public safety. The plan includes $24 million for renovating the Showers building that houses City Hall into a new public safety headquarters. Administrative offices for the police and fire departments would move into that renovated space. $8 million would be used to renovate fire stations number 1 and 2, and the remaining $2.5 million would be used to construct new training, logistics, and storage facilities. The City Council meets tonight to hold a public hearing on the project.
Police are no strangers to being in the public spotlight. With incidents sparking protests in recent years, there's no doubt an added level of stress. So we find out what it's really like behind the wheel. HNS reporter Ashton Hackman got an up-close look at what a night shift at IUPD might entail.
Meet IU police officer Gabby Mitchum.
Afternoon, sir.
Nearly a year serving in the department as a full-time officer.
I'm excited to come to work. I love what I do.
Just before 9 on a cold night, and for a few hours, we rode with Mitchum and the IUPD. First up, a traffic stop, a vehicle without headlights on.
Hello. Hi, I'm Officer Mitch with IU Police Department. The reason I'm pulling you over today, you don't have your headlights on. So you're driving around with no lights on?
I would say a routine traffic stop. I do quite a few of those with headlights off.
Then it was a code 3 response.
Section 17th of the ISP came upon a pedestrian that shot by a car. I don't know if it's not LSA or just a GI.
State police were nearby and sirens.
25 square.
To a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. But as we were en route to the call,
Yes, we're at 17th of the ISP has decided they are going to work the accident subject to disregard. The pedestrian is okay, the vehicle is still on the scene. They're just going to have the EMS check the pedestrian out.
state police were nearby and took care of the accident.
25% traffic.
But a short time later,
Recording.
it's back in service, responding to a fire alarm.
On scene. Rating outside, we had one a couple weeks ago where we got called. It was like just pouring rain.
Remember that snowstorm we got last year?
Yeah, the bad
It was
one.
in the middle of that.
Oh, of course it was. And you're just like, no, thank you. We wake you up. What else did you have?
Now, while we didn't get into any crazy calls, the night was still a unique look into what the department goes through day in and day out. For Hoosier News Source, I'm Ashton Hackman.
What an incredible opportunity to get a glance into something most people here at IU don't see. Thanks for reporting, Ashton.
Monroe County Democrats have called for a vote recount in the Indiana House District 62 race. The race was between Democrat Penny Githens and Republican Dave Hall. Hall won by a margin of 40 votes, giving him a lead of under 1%, according to a press release from the Monroe County Democrats. If the count overturns the race, it still will not give Democrats the majority in the House, but Monroe County Democrats say the recount is important for democracy by ensuring that every vote counts.
14 months is a long time, but is it enough time for Bloomington Transit to receive 8 new electric buses? BT received close to $8 million from the Federal Transportation Agency, and our HNS reporter Ella Rhodes got to look into it for an investigative journalism class. She's also sharing her reporting with us. Take a look.
Can Bloomington Transit put the pedal to the metal with $8 million in the passenger seat?
I think our vision is to be the go-to transportation company in Bloomington.
After receiving the FTA's No and Low Emission Vehicle Program grant for 8 electric buses, BT believes it's possible to achieve their vision despite previous difficulties.
It was a challenge in the beginning, and if we were having this interview a year ago, I would have told you we wouldn't have been going in that direction.
Originally, BT started with 2 electric buses in 2020, but those buses supplied by the bus manufacturer Gillig had issues with the cooling pump, the computer systems, and the bus's ability to complete routes, resulting in them staying off the road for almost 6 months. So why did BT stay with Gillig as their partnered supplier?
It's an evolving technology. It continues to evolve.
BT said Gillig took an aggressive approach to solve these problems. However, uncertainty about parts of the technology remains a concern.
What's the useful life of the vehicle? We'll find out.
The grant only supplies around 80% of the funds needed for this project. So where does the other 20% come in? A local income tax increase from the city will give them $3.8 million to complete the bus purchase.
In my memory, this is the first time that the city will actually transfer a large sum to Bloomington Transit.
Before applying to the electric bus grant, BT completed a study to determine which diesel alternatives best suit the city, ultimately choosing electric-fueled buses.
It fits in really well with our climate action plan with the city, which is to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from transportation. And so having these electric buses is really going to move us closer to that goal.
Besides tech problems, other challenges exist for the transit agency.
We haven't established any concrete deadlines, but time is of the essence.
BT expects there are 8 new buses in an estimated 14 months, with room for delay from supply chain issues.
And additional vehicles need space to be able to be parked. This facility here we share with Campus Bus, Indiana University Campus Bus. We're at capacity.
Do we stay there? Do we move? Do we acquire property? What do we do? Because right now we're kind of busting at the seams.
A possible option includes expanding at the property next door to their current facility, but no official decisions have been made. Despite the hiccups, BT's message remains clear.
We've got to move ahead, we've got to do it, and we've got to find a way to do it.
With technology, space, and time, millions of dollars are on the line for Bloomington Transit.
Bloomington Transit says they remain optimistic about their future and hopes to have those buses running as soon as possible.
Now Kayla Craig is here in studio with our last weather forecast for this season. Kayla?
Thanks, Chloe. The 2022 Atlantic hurricane season came to a close last week. We had 14 named storms this season, which is right on average. The most named storms in a year was just 2 years ago in 2020, and the least in 1914 with just 1. Let's have a look at today's game day forecast. The Hoosiers take on Nebraska here at home Wednesday at 8:30. It won't be as cold as it has been, but still pretty chilly, especially after the game, where we can expect mid to low 40s. Let's see what to expect for the rest of the week. It looks like we're in for some rain here in Bloomington. Tomorrow afternoon, we can expect around 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain, and rain will continue to pop up through Friday into next week. Stay safe, good luck on your finals, happy holidays, and back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up on Hoosier News Source, how untreated mental illnesses are costing the state money.
And an update on the suit filed to allow an All Lives Matter mural. Stay with us. Welcome back. Emma Gladstone joins us now with the latest on international news. Emma?
While the rest of the world continues easing COVID restrictions, China still has yet to say when their zero COVID policy will end. After several protests throughout the country in late November, the Chinese Communist Party allowed people to ride public transportation without proof of a negative COVID test in the last 48 hours of the first time in months. China's zero COVID policy mandates people to stay at home, quarantine at the government facility, participate in mass testing, and close businesses and schools. The government plans to vaccinate a large portion of the older population as they start to ease restrictions. And war continues between Ukraine and Russia for the 9th month. Tuesday marks the 2nd day in a row of drone attacks in Russia. On Monday, Ukraine's drones hit 2 Russian military bases. It's not confirmed who sent the drones on Tuesday. The attack struck an oil facility around 80 miles from the Ukrainian border. After Ukrainians' assault on Monday, Russia fired back, leaving parts of Ukraine without electricity. And on a lighter note, the World Cup quarterfinals are this weekend. On Friday, Croatia will play Brazil and the Netherlands will play Argentina. Then on Saturday, England will play France and Morocco will play Portugal. Before the tournament started, FIFA faced backlash about choosing Qatar to host the World Cup due to human rights violations against the workers who constructed tournament facilities and the country banning players wearing inclusive armbands for the LGBTQ community and not serving alcohol at the tournament. That's what's going on around the world. Chloe and Carly, back to you.
The state of Indiana has lost over $4 billion in untreated mental illness. An analysis done by the Indiana Behavioral Health Commission shows that these economic consequences are costing the state millions. Productivity losses alone cost Indiana $885 million each year. The commission provided recommendations following their analysis, including a three-part model to help those suffering a mental health crisis. The model describes having someone to contact, someone to respond to the situation, and a safe environment that can assist. Now, IU students and Indiana residents all have access to the new 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. For mental health crises, Hoosiers can dial 988 instead of 911 to have a mental health professional arrive at the scene.
I think it helps a great deal to have people that are well trained in that specifically to de-escalate the situation and maybe approach it in a way that somebody that is trained and understands mental health will handle it.
By improving statewide mental health, the commission hopes to combat the costs of the state's inaction.
The Bloomington federal judge ruled in favor of allowing an All Lives Matter mural to be painted in Bloomington in opposition to the Black Lives Matter mural that was painted last year. IUS-TV News reached out to the Black Student Union as well as Jacqueline Griffin, who organized the Black Lives Matter mural on campus, but neither responded to comment. The Indiana University chapter of Turning Point USA, a conservative nonprofit group, filed suit against Bloomington in February in favor of the All Lives Matter mural.
We're very excited that we've had progress in the courts. We're very excited that we're now likely going to have the opportunity to paint our mural. And initially this started as a way to provide a contrary viewpoint on campus to the sort of Black Lives Matter murals and flags and other statements in support of that organization that have become ubiquitous on campus.
There is no date detailing if and when this mural will be painted.
Starting next year, IU Parking will officially use license plate recognition technology to administer parking tickets. IU Parking began giving out warnings this semester with LRP technology. This will replace the parking permits that hang in car windshields. Instead, cameras scan a license plate to see whether the car is registered in the permit data system. The car's license plate must face outwards so the cameras can read the plates. IU Parking says if your state does not require front plates, you can purchase one in the IU Parking office.
Things might be slowing down with campus finals, but basketball season is just picking up speed. Hank Joseph joins us to share more on the latest with IU athletics. Hank?
Well, it's not basketball that's the big story this week. Instead, it's the continued success of the men's soccer team as they travel to Cary, North Carolina tomorrow to compete in the College Cup for the 22nd time in the team's 50-year history. The 13-seeded Hoosiers knocked off the 12-seeded North Carolina Greensboro to advance to the Final Four and will face Pittsburgh on Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Women's basketball team remains undefeated after a convincing win over 6th-ranked North Carolina and a nail-biting win over Illinois on Sunday, 65-61. They now find themselves ranked 4th overall in the AP poll and are currently the 2nd highest-ranked big team, coming in 1 spot behind Ohio State. The men's basketball team suffered their first loss of the season on Saturday on the road to Rutgers, 48-63. In Trace Jackson Davis's 4-year career here at Indiana, he's still yet to beat the Scarlet Knights, now an 0-6 record. The Hoosiers' second conference game will be Wednesday night at Assembly Hall when they face Nebraska, who recently defeated a top 10 team in Creighton last week. And as the football season comes to a close, there's a few positives to take away from such a disappointing season. Dexter Williams III, arguably the starting quarterback for next season, underwent surgery on an injured knee and will be out for an undisclosed period of time. Not to mention an already 11 players who have entered the transfer portal and 2 starters who have entered the NFL draft. Tom Allen will have his hands full this offseason to field a competitive roster in 2023.
Thanks, Hank, and thank you for watching the season finale of Hoosier News Source.
For more information on this week's stories, check out iustv.com.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV News.
I'm Chloe Ferguson.
And I'm Carly Flanagan. From Bloomington, Indiana, we'll see you next semester.